people creating momentum. And so some of what I wanted to talk about today is what we need to do to get rid of procrastination. Because when you procrastinate, it totally eliminates your momentum. Actually, I guess we should record. Oh, we are recording. Jake just takes such good care of us. So I've been reading this book, and I'm getting really into it. So if that's something you want to do, I think we have. If you want to mute everybody, I've been reading this book. Keith Abraham came to our conference, and he did this book on focus. And so I got that book, and I've been using it as a workbook where I'm actually stopping and going through. But I'm going to give you kind of the cliff notes today, and then if you're interested. Maybe you want to check out the book or let me know, and I can put out some little highlights as I go through the book. Maybe that would help you. But I really think what helps us the most is when we write things down and we take action towards something. And so there's so many things. Even just yesterday, Ron and I were talking about things that we'd even talked about at conference, that as soon as we get home, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And this is going to change and that is going to change. And we looked at each other and we said, what happened there? We came home and then we went back into our same patterns of life. Does anybody ever do that? Please say it's not just me. Why do we do that? It's so frustrating. We've got all these ideas and things we want to do, and then we'll procrastinate on them. And if you weren't on the phone earlier, Mary Ellen had an excellent story. I was like, oh my gosh, this falls in with what she was saying of just projects that she's wanted done in her backyard forever. And she just finished the last one. And so, every year she was taking really big projects like tearing down a garage and getting a new foundation and cleaning out everything in it. I'm not talking about cleaning out your junk drawer. But she did it. And as we go through this, Mary Ellen, maybe we can kind of end even with you start thinking about which of these steps did you take? What helped you to stop that procrastination and to get to that point? So my goal for this call is that by the end of the call, you have some action steps. You start thinking of what you're going to do, not tomorrow. And Rachel Hollis talks about this as well, that when you really want to get something done, when you have that thought, you have to do some kind of action within 5 seconds. Otherwise, you won't, that it just goes on by. And it's funny because when I was at the NMD meeting, I was sharing with a friend, and they were bugging me because I had this really old phone. I couldn't pull up podcasts. Everybody was talking about podcasts. And so, they were saying, okay, well, just because you can't pull up this podcast, then we have to take an action step right now. I'm going to screenshot this podcast. I'm going to text it to you. And then when you get home and you get a new phone, you're going to text or Vox me. We set up action steps so that things really got done. And this can be for any aspect of your life. Of course, we're all in business together, so I will be relating it to business today. But his book is so good. I'm just going to give you the highlights for this. His main solution is, he says, forget about starting, just focus on the first step. Okay, and here's how he breaks that down. Forget about the end result or the outcome. If we're thinking so much, I got to get to sales coordinator, I got to do this, or I'm getting a national marketing director, or whatever you want to do, you might be thinking too much. There's too many tasks. There's too much jumbled in your head. It's too overwhelming. And when we feel overwhelmed, we just shut down. And it's kind of funny because my sister, she drove she's got multiple places that she lives. So she drove 2.5 hours to her home in Anchorage because she said she had all this stuff to do in her home. And when she got there, she said, Susie, this is a mess. I don't want to deal with this room, and this is a mess, and this is dirty, and that. She said, it's too much. I'm just going to go see my friend Joanne. And so, but that's what we're talking about. That's human nature, right? We find a way to escape that when it's too overwhelming. So forget about the end result. Focus on taking the first step. So think about that. If my sister would have gone in there and said, I'm just going to focus on these 1 square foot of this room and take care of that, then she could have had that step, right? She could have done that. Once you have that completed, then you can think about the next step. So if you can, just unmute yourself. Like in business, what would that look like in our business if we just focused on taking the first step? What would be a one-step thing you could do today that would make a difference, that would be towards maybe your big goal, but forget that. We're not going to be overwhelmed. What is one step you can do? Anything in your business.
I have one.
Okay.
Call a team member. That's what gets me going.
Great.
Yeah.
Does anybody have a different one?
I do. Last night I had all these things that were just rolling around in my head that I needed to do. So I thought I didn't want to just go to bed because I knew that in the morning I would forget about them. So I sat down and made a list of all those things. And so now I can just check them off. I can prioritize them and then check them off as needed.
Cool. That's going to come. We're going to talk about that too. That's perfect. Something else that you can do in your business today. Dar?
I just happened to watch a video about this very thing today from a friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours. And he gave an amazing word picture about how to make a harvest, and that is to just plant one seed. So he was narrowing it down about being overwhelmed even more, where, but one thing can you do? Just a single thing. And so it's the action step that gets the momentum.
Yep.
See, just take one action step. Pick up the phone and talk to somebody, send a text to somebody, just one thing. And you feel like you've gotten something accomplished.
Yep. It changes things.
Well, like making the list is fine, so what one thing out of that list is going to be the most rewarding to you today?
Right. You've got to take an action, though. It does.
Yeah, have to act. Yeah, you aren't going to have
Without the list, though, I would have been sitting here this morning going, what did I need to do?
Yep.
So I had to get the list down.
He had a word picture that he used a package of seeds for planting. And he said, here's your list of things that you have to do. But if you just take one seed out of there, you're going to have a harvest.
Yeah.
So when you get your mindset in the right perspective, the right perception, then you credit yourself. You have to credit yourself and say, I did that one thing today, and that's one good thing for my business.
I think that's why when those of us who use Team Z, when we start seeing those circles fill in, we feel accomplished. We're doing action steps in our business. He said also, make the first step really easy. Okay, so the first step to me, if you're a brand new person, would not be planning a whole new event. Maybe we're doing these salad jars and Buddha bowls and things like that. That's not simple. But just like we're saying, picking one person on your top 5 list to call, that's simple. Okay, just keep it basic. What can you do that's really simple? You don't have to plan too much for. You can just take action on it. It might be having coffee with somebody. It might be having your favorite family over for dinner, whatever that thing is for you. He said also, don't wait for everything to be perfect. And we learned through the Brave Leaders program that perfectionism is really a result of shame. So when people are trying to be so perfect, they've got some shame maybe deep down. And it was kind of interesting because I used to brag that as a perfectionist. I saw that as a really good quality, but they helped me look at different ways of, yes, you still want to be able to do things very well, but it will hold you back if you're always trying to be a perfectionist, because like in our business, you'll think, I don't know the right words, so I can't call, instead of just talking from your heart. I don't know what kind of snacks to serve if I had my friend over for coffee. Who cares, right? I mean, it's all that kind of stuff. Oh, my house is, my house isn't decorated as well as hers, or my house is a mess. It doesn't really matter. People want to connect with you. And if you're trying to be perfect, they're going to feel awkward around you. They're not going to feel like they can be, that they can be themselves, or that they might not feel enough. So just know you don't have to be perfect. And then he also said, measure not how far you have to go, but how far you have come. So look at your starting point today. Don't be kicking yourself if you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't get any customers last month, or I didn't talk to anybody last month. That's yesterday. That's last month. Who cares? We're not looking back there. Let's start where your starting point is today. And then if you are able to make some really meaningful conversations, just start counting from today on. And then when you look back at the end of the week, you can be like, wow, I had 5 amazing conversations and a wonderful lunch date. That was awesome, right? Oh my gosh, I followed up with 3 customers and I helped one get started on the shred. And whatever that is, you start today. Don't beat yourself up for anything else. You start today and then make a step forward. And you don't even want to compare yourself with everybody that's on the phone today, because we all live different lives. We all have different things that we're responsible for. So somebody on here might have one really meaningful connection a day. Somebody else on here could have 20 different conversations. Doesn't matter. It matters what you did, and are you going forward? Okay, are you moving forward, and are you picking quality conversations, quality people that you want to deal with? Okay, he says, remember this: the day you take the first step of the task you have been procrastinating about is the day you beat procrastination. So you can beat that today. Today can be your day that you take even that one step. Okay, we're not going to look at this whole big picture of everything you need to do. Who cares? One step. And then if that wasn't too scary, you take another step. And depending what your life is like during the day, some of you have a lot of small children. You might have plans to take a whole bunch of steps in one day. And some days that happens. And other days things happen and you're not going to be able to because things get busy with kids or whatever, right? Or we all have different things that happen. Just keep moving forward. And when you look back, only count and think about, wow, how far have I come? Look what I did. I think it's a great feeling. His second solution is, he says, you must always focus on what counts. Okay? So he said to be focused, you need to be able to focus on just a few vital things. So his number one thing, and we just heard this morning, he said, stop and write a list of everything you have to do. You won't even know where you're going to focus if you don't write a list. He says, write a list of everything you have to do in all areas of your life. Okay? He says, this simple strategy gives you the ability to assess everything so that you can work out what is best to do now. Now, you have to be careful of this. I've also been through Darren Hardy, and he said, be careful if you make this humongous list. What we tend to do is we pick all the easy things off of it. So we keep thinking we're doing stuff, but really we're being busy. So when you make that list, that's good. That's your brain dump. That's to help you focus. And that's what he's talking about, being focused. But then you need to pick what's the most important. And Darren Hardy says you always want to pick the top 6 things that no matter what need to be done that day. So if your workout is important to you, your workout is on there. If connecting with 5 customers is important to you, you've got that. I mean, you pick out just those 6 things that no matter what, when you go to bed, you want to have done. Then when you get those 6 done, then you can start picking at the rest of the list. But he says, otherwise you're just going to keep being busy. You're going to get things done like cleaning out the trash cans and, things that, you're busy and it's nice, but they don't really have a huge impact. So it goes right into what I'm saying. Decide on your priorities. What is the critical or most vital thing that's important to you? Okay, is cleaning out your trash can, is that the most important thing to you that day? Okay, if you spilled chicken juice in it and it smells really horrible, guess what? That's going to be really important to you, right? That you're going to do it. But if you're just cleaning out trash cans to clean out trash cans, and you're saying, oh my gosh, I really want to build a business. I really need this income. I really need, to find my tribe of people. But you're cleaning trash cans, it doesn't match, right? What is the one thing, not the 20 tasks, that you need to complete? And he said you can consider your personal, professional, physical, and profitable, but you don't have to have something in every area. Okay, sometimes you're only going to be focused on a few areas at a time. Once you decide what is that one thing, and there's a book out there too talking about that one thing and getting that done each time. He says, let's all talk about let's pick one thing today that we can do, and we're going to just talk business on this one. What's a one thing that we can do for our business today that we can do in this next hour, assuming that you have the next hour or some hour today. Okay, let's say we have in our power hour. What is the one thing you definitely want to achieve today for your business? Who wants to go first? Y'all look frozen. This is so scary.
Well, for me, it's got to be my power hour.
Doing your Team Z.
Yep.
Making connections. Okay. What is your one thing you want to get done today, no matter what? Something for your business. Judy?
For me, well, I'm here at my kids, but I am taking time. I have to follow up with someone that has responded to me. So now I need to make sure to follow up with her, that she is very interested in the product. And so that is my one thing I have to accomplish today.
I love that you brought that up, because we all think, there's this sick feeling that if we've been working with somebody or maybe even working with them 9 months ago, and all of a sudden we see them get signed up with somebody else, and we think, oh, I was working with them. I don't know how I want to tie this together, but we need that same feeling like, oh, I wish I should have done that. I can't tell you how many times I'm in the same group where somebody has told me they are absolutely interested in Juice Plus, and then I don't make them my priority. I'm so glad you brought that up, Judy. If you have somebody already interested in Juice Plus, and then you don't care enough they start feeling like, what am I, chopped liver? I just told you I'm interested. They're going to lose excitement. Hey, you want to capture them with that passion. So that's absolutely your number one priority, Judy. And I love that it doesn't matter if you're out visiting your kids, you're going to make them a priority, and it's not going to take that long. That's so important. I love that. Jake, what's your one thing?
Well, it's the beginning of the month, and as a team leader, one of the things that I need to do is reach out, and I've already started reaching out to people who are close to promotion and see what our goals are, just do some coaching and see what we can do to help them to make that happen. So they can make that list and pick out that one priority.
Mm-hmm. Every day. Somebody else have one thing they'll do for their business today. Mary Ellen.
I've got one like Judy that I've been procrastinating on. This is a cold call from a referral from a customer who thinks Juice Plus is the greatest and is, telling people about it. And these people are not responding to me. But one finally did. And this other one, they have not been responding to me. And so I basically punted and didn't do anything with them for the whole last month. And I need to pick up that phone and contact them.
Ooh, brave. We're going to check back with all of you. Did you do it? Did you connect? I love it. Vicki, what did you want to share? I saw your hand.
I've been gone for other job training, so I need to get posts put on Facebook.
Okay. I've been slacking on that myself.
Bobby and I are hosting one of the salad in a jar workshops. So my goal for today is to get some people invited to that.
So important. And I'll just tell everybody, when you plan an event or there is an event, time block right away, time that you're going to invite people and time that you're going to follow up after the event, because the inviting can get easy, but if we don't follow up and just remind them and stuff, they might not come. And if we don't follow up after the event to see if it made sense to them and what we can do to serve them or help them get started, you're just kind of spinning your wheels. So I love that, Ember. I'm glad there have been times I've just put a bunch of events on my planner and then I haven't invited anybody, but I felt so important because I put these events on my calendar. It's just so silly. So who else has one thing you can do today? Ron Llewellyn, what's one thing you're going to do today?
I knew that you'd pick on me eventually.
I was waiting for you to volunteer, big boy.
Volunteer. I think mine goes along with Dara. I always look at who have I shared product information or an event invite and make sure that I've been following up with those people. And I think that goes along. It's who's the priority people that have been responding to you.
So nice when they respond. We need to make sure we respond back.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Vivi or Sheila, do you have something to contribute? And Susan, I think that's your phone number on here. Is it Susan and Gladed? Yvette, I see Yvette's phone.
I've started the teensy, and we had the Sugar Valley Rally down here this last weekend, and so I was walking around a craft fair and talked to a couple people that I hadn't talked to for years. Gave them a card, and they were very interested in it. So just continuing talking to them and making them let them know that I'm here and see what I can do for it.
Absolutely. I'd really encourage you, if you've been talking to them, you shared your story, now it's time that third-party validation to see if they are open to watching a video, that you could just pop them over a short video, or you can get them on the phone with Jake, any of those kinds of things. Because remember, you're a new kid on the block. You're not expected to know all the answers. And that way, let a doctor on the video do the talking for you, or let Jake, and that way you're going to learn more that way. And it'll give them confidence as well. So that's great.
All right, thank you.
Any more brave souls going to peep up here?
I'd like to share.
Thanks, Yvette.
Have a moment. Mine would be my power hour as well, and follow up. I think that's pretty huge for me right now, is the follow up. And something else I have on the agenda is strategizing and coming up possibly with a workshop. So that's something that I would like to wrap my head around a little bit later on this evening.
Very exciting. And congratulations. May was a good business month for you. I'm proud of you.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thanks. It's great to be back in action.
Yeah, it's very fun. Keep that momentum going by doing at least one step every day. That way we don't get a little rusty.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the encouragement.
Anybody else want to pop in? Vivi, you look like you're dying to talk. Didn't you hate when your teacher called on you? Susan, are you on the phone? Do you want to share what one thing you want to do?
Yeah, I am on here. I'm working on doing follow-up calls. I've been going back through contacts and stuff from different events, and just even from, long time ago and so forth, and just checking back in with people.
I love it. I always think about what's the next step for that person and sticking with them. Good for you. Gladys, are you on the phone too? I'm not sure who our other caller number is. Might be. Okay, well, let me leave you with this.
It is I, and I didn't think you could hear me.
I can hear you.
I didn't want to say anything because my dog keeps barking. Anyway, I have a big goal, great big one.
Okay.
Yeah. Get my ducks in a row.
You want to share your big goal?
That's it. Get my ducks in a row.
Okay.
I need to get my, all right, girls, get your poop in the group.
There you go.
You know.
Well, just think of one activity towards getting your ducks in a row. What's your one activity going to be today?
Working on my my paperwork, you know. That's the idea. To see where I need to go and what I need to do.
Okay.
That was what I meant.
Oh, you need a bigger picture. Okay. And once you have that, then I want you to come up with your one thing that you're going to do so that you don't get just bogged down in paperwork. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay.
Because we
Yeah.
can do all the planning we want and we can look at everything on paper all we want. But if we don't come up every day with one action step of really taking action and connecting with somebody, our business won't grow. We can have the best plans in the world, but we have to take the action.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I know you'll do it. You've been doing a great job. So what Keith Abraham says to follow up on this is he says, remember this, the key to focus is to focus on what's important, what matters, and what will make a difference now. So think about that as you work in your business each day. Is this going to make a difference now? And you want to have several things each day that you can do, or at least one that's going to make a difference right now. And then I like that I'm still hearing, you know, hey, we want to plan, we want to coach, we want to, you know, create events. All those things are awesome. But I would do at least the one step, the connection of what you're going to do that's going to make an impact now. And then that is just an additional thing that can keep you going. He says, action is procrastination's kryptonite. I thought that was cool. Action is procrastination's kryptonite. And progress is procrastination's arch rival. Passion is procrastination's demolisher. And momentum is procrastination's greatest enemy. And I think you'll find that once you have momentum, procrastination goes away. It's much easier to get going. But if we don't have the action and the progress and the passion, it's hard to create that momentum. So,
Susie, what was progress? That was
progress is procrastination's arch rival.
Can you just read that back really quick for us, so that for those of us who are taking notes?
Action is procrastination's kryptonite. Progress is procrastination's arch rival. Passion is procrastination's demolisher. And momentum is procrastination's greatest enemy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And you know, I love that when he says passion is procrastination's demolisher. You see, when people are on fire, when we first get going, sometimes I call it Juice Plus brain. We can't stop thinking about Juice Plus. It doesn't matter if we know all the answers or where we're going or have a plan. We talk about people having diarrhea of the mouth, you know, or that their ignorance on fire. They don't care. They just go out there and they share because why? They're passionate. And that is just demolishing any kind of procrastination because you feel the need to share so much. So think about that. If you feel like, oh, I need a little more passion, get yourself to an event, watch more videos, talk with one of us, see what we can do to get you plugged in so you ignite that fire again and you get that passion. And that's going to help you take action and make progress. And then you're going to start feeling that momentum. It's just going to go and go. So anyway, I'm really, really enjoying this book and using it as a workbook. I hope you found some things helpful today. If anything from this, if you just get up to say, every day, I just need to think of one really important step that I can take for my business. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to be proud. And I'm going to look back and say, I was there and I jumped up to here. And then you can decide if you're going to take another step and another step. But the only way to stop procrastinating is to take that step. And I love my old gym. I always said the hardest part of working out is getting to the gym. And that's kind of like Juice Plus. The hardest part of doing our business is just choosing who we're going to reach out to. You know, who is that first person that we're going to connect with? That's, to me, the hardest part. And once you start doing it, you're fine. So, okay, I'll leave it open just for a minute. Does anybody have any questions, comments, theories, philosophy to share today on this Monday morning? No? Everybody just gives me a nice smile. Such a good-looking group. I'm so proud. Mary Ellen, you're muted, hon.
Would me to make a comment about kind of what I had done and what
Yes.
I took from this.
Yes.
And boy, it makes a lot of sense, because I had procrastinated for 4 years, feeling so overwhelmed at these things because I knew my husband couldn't do them, and I had no idea what it was going to take to get these things done. But taking those first steps, and each step I took, every time I finished one, I felt so proud of myself, and I felt so good, and I said, oh my gosh, I can do the next one. So I know that's going to happen, that each one you take gives you more power to do the next one.
I love it. Wow, that's some wisdom there. Thank you, Mary Ellen. That just tied it up with a pretty bow. So.
Yeah, action breeds. Oh, and I just lost my thought. Energy. Action makes energy.
Yeah.
You know, that action, and then the more energy you get, the more action you take. Thanks, Mary Ellen. That's awesome.
That was awesome. All right, everybody. Well, I sure appreciate you coming on and sharing today. And remember, we have a meeting every Monday morning. So come back. It's one of your actions this week. If you have team members, make sure they know. Do you know that we gather, for a short amount of time every Monday morning? Sometimes that's everybody. They just need to be part of a group. They just need to get a little shot in the arm. So make sure that your teammates know about joining us on Monday mornings, and we'd love to see them and see you again. So
thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Thank you. Y'all have a great week.